So I'm here with Harry McDonald. How you doing, Harry?
Excellent. Great to be on board.
Yeah,
Appreciate you having me.
I'm glad we could figure out a date and time. I know you're a busy man, so I'm glad we could figure out what works for us there. How's it going?
Things are really good. Just glad that the wrestling is back in full swing, and we're getting back into what everybody really enjoys and the passion of everybody. So just been, real glad to get back in the swing of things.
Are you excited for Fargo?
I am excited for Fargo. I actually don't do Fargo, but I have some officials, some colleagues that go out for the Fargo that same week. I have another tournament, so it is quite busy. And over a period of the year, you get to, sometimes have to choose local, or maybe some of them that you've officiated in the past and stay loyal. So, but Fargo is one excellent tournament. I'm excited for everybody out there.
So we should have probably started this way. That's my fault. But tell everyone that's listening, watching, a little bit about how you got involved in wrestling and what you've been doing lately through your career.
Absolutely. Well, it was I was a gymnast through high school. So being a gymnast, a lot of fitness was involved, and I had pretty big guns. I had some nice biceps. So my high school teacher, all the way through my freshman year, sophomore year, he was the head wrestling coach. And each day I would walk through he was my homeroom teacher too, but through the years, he kept asking me to put my biceps to real use and come out for wrestling. And after about 2 years, I changed heart in sports, and I told him that I would definitely come out for wrestling. And it was in the middle of the season, so he actually took me to the office and we signed the papers, and have been wrestling ever since. But I do give credit to my coach. He was perseverance on just getting individuals out for this sport, and it was great fit for me. Excellent fit.
That's a very cool story. And now it's gotten you to officiate in all these different levels now too. So tell us a little bit about what you've been up to this year, since we've had somewhat of a more normal year.
Well, it was good to get back to some of the tournaments that we had postponed last year. A little bit about, I coached wrestling for 18 years, and then I got involved with coaching my daughter's sports as well. And we all know how demanding coaching can be. So with me switching, my passion towards my daughter's sports, it didn't allow me the freedom and the time to do both of them. So after a year of coaching my daughter's sports, after coaching for so many years, it was proposed to me to maybe put on the stripes. I can tell you that was a challenging thought to go from coaching to officiating, but I did decide, only because I really missed the sport. I have a passion for the sport. It gave me an opportunity to still be around all my colleagues, still get to see the wrestlers, still be around parents. Wrestling is more of it becomes a family event. So that's how it developed, that I became officiating. I've been officiating now I coached for 18 years. I've been officiating for about 12 years now. With a lot of my networks that I was able to establish through coaching, I kind of was on a fast track to officiate, but that was earned. So there was a lot of pressure on me, because I did have probably the opportunities in the network to maybe travel a little bit and get to see some great wrestling with the stripes on. But that came with a lot of pressure, because again, with me wanting to do and getting it right, comes with a lot of pressure, especially at the higher level. So I was able to, again, get on board, officiate, and I officiated at the bottom, all the way from the bottom all the way up. But again, kind of on a fast track with some opportunities through my past.
Where did you coach at?
I did coach in Hilton Head, South Carolina for 15 years. And then when I relocated back to Ohio, I coached at Columbus Academy for 3 years, and I enjoyed it again. So, and I'd probably still be coaching, even though I really enjoy officiating. it was tough because it's a completely different element when you're working directly with the kids. And I really enjoyed working with the kids, and my rewards were their all their accomplishments, and that's never changed. But when you go into the officiating side of the house, all of a sudden your awards become, you make a difference. And through coaching for so many years, there were some opportunities where I thought that I can get it right. And so there was a lot of challenges, but again, officiating was a good fit for me at the time, and really enjoy it.
What are some of the first big realizations, as you took off your coaching hat for those 18 years and you became an official, that you said before you put on the stripes? Like, what are some of the big aha moments that you had when you're like, probably would have been nice to have this kind of knowledge when I was coaching, or understand some of what the officials are thinking and doing and things like that, where there's some moments where you're like,
And that's an interesting concept, because as a coach, I really thought that I knew the rules, and I really thought I knew a lot of the protocols, and I thought I knew
everyone does,
a little bit
right?
more than a little more than I really did. And then when you're given the task of saying that, and I've heard it in different terms, but really the rule book and all the criteria is going to be your coat of armor. And if you don't know the rules and you don't have the criteria and you don't exercise the exact verbiage, chances are it becomes a lot more challenging than it has to be. But that's your responsibility anyways. And like I said, the rules are going to be key. You got to know the rule book. So going into, again, officiating, my biggest concerns is I wanted to get it right. I wanted to get it right at 100%. So that took a lot of work on my part, as far as studying. And I can't tell you the endless hours and hours of video, including myself. I videotape probably for the first 5 years, and I do every once in a while. I'll videotape all my matches. I learn a lot from just my own videos, and I would suggest that for any official that's out there to definitely video yourself. Watch videos at all levels. You can learn a lot even from other styles of wrestling. I've learned a lot from push out rules, learned a lot from, freestyle. So definitely getting to know the sport and getting to know everything was pretty challenging. Being at a fast pass, it was a lot of work on my part, but again, so rewarding. The goal is really to keep these kids safe, and the goal is also to get it right. We're human, so we want everybody, and I think everybody realizes that we are human, but I really want them to know that their best intentions and my best intentions are best interest of the kid and the sport.
Yeah, definitely. You love to hear that. So you kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but you've got to know the criteria. Obviously, if you're an official, that's kind of what you sign up to do. But to the people that maybe aren't ever have been officials or ever really sat down and looked at the rule book, right? They coach, that's hard enough work. You mentioned that too. But what do you think is the most misunderstood rule or ruling in wrestling by coaches that comes up more often than it probably should?
I think the biggest challenge for any official is when we get into a little bit of the gray area. When I say gray areas, because we do have judgment. And everybody's judgment may be just off just, a microsecond or a micro minute. But again, the judgment is going to be the most challenging part for any official. So one of the judgments that are mostly misconceived is the stalling call. And I've done more than my share of seminars and clinics for the stall. But again, when it comes to stalling, you're looking at different criteria. What makes it difficult also is because it is judgment call, you have different parts of different states and also through the country that may conceive it a little bit different. We got some states that parts of the states will say, well, they don't call stalling in that area of the state. And then you got aggressive areas that will call that. So I would say probably stalling by far is going to be probably misconceived signal and element of wrestling. It is getting a lot better. There's a lot of clinics out there. It's section 6 of the rule book. And if you look at it, it's pretty vague. It leaves it open for a lot because basically it just says that both wrestlers should attempt an honest attempt to stay in a 10-foot circle. And again, you should always be working to score. So anything beyond that is, again, could be considered wrestling, not wrestling. So I'm hoping that some of the officials that are on board, and I try to make it pretty simple for myself, but anytime I think that, the wrestler, we kind of gotten away a little bit from the traditional stalling. And traditional stalling, again, is some of the stalling that happens in the neutral position, some of the top bottom wrestling, because what we did is we emphasized stalling in the push out, in the backing out areas. So and the shoelace coming undone now was the stall section 6. So now we're really focused in areas that takes us away from the traditional. So I want officials and coaches out there to realize that, even a coach, and it's their responsibility that these kids know that it's their responsibility to keep action going at all times and try to score. So from that aspect is I really want everybody to concentrate again on the traditional stalling and all the emphasis that, that they really put out there. So that stalling definitely is something that we can work on, not only as a state, but across the country. And there's a lot that we put in place that are helping us along the way.
Yeah, good. We had a little bit of a discussion about that, so I'm glad we got to that topic there. So what I took from that though is we're getting closer to parity in some areas, but with the rules being called the same, or was that fair to say?
Yes, I think we're getting closer. And again, that deals with a lot more of the clinics that are offered. There's areas that I'm responsible for a lot of national tournaments. And for the first day of all my officials from across the country, I'll match them up. Not if there's 3 in a group, none of them will be from the same state. What I'm promoting is the opportunity for 2 things. One is that they can work together and come to common grounds on why maybe stalling wasn't called there, why they seen it a different way. Also gives them an opportunity to network, to get to other states. If I'm working with somebody from California, there might be an opportunity or a tournament out there that, I'll get invited to. And I've been doing that for the last couple of years and giving officials a lot of opportunities to travel, to see the bigger picture. And the goal is consistency, to get these officials talking, to make sense of the rule on stalling, as well as other calls. There's some other calls that, we work well together. And I can tell you in the last 5 years, it has improved tremendously throughout, because again, we have a lot of the officials with new officials that come to these tournaments, and we're seeing clearly a lot more consistency.
Awesome. So here's the number one question. What is your sales or elevator sales pitch to a current or former wrestler in order to get them to check out officiating, to put on the stripes?
I definitely think that the number one, well, we all have a passion for the sport. It's in their blood. So I don't pass up any opportunities to remind them that, hey, there are after wrestling or even during wrestling. And I really promote during wrestling because I think and I've been at quite a few tournaments that we can pay these athletes, these college and high school individuals that are wrestling. We can pay them for some small events, get them certified, get them involved in the classes. But my biggest thing for them is to get back to the sport. I mean, the sport's been good to you. There's a lot of people that will go on with life lessons. Want them to share that with all the different and anybody that they can. Again, since it's in their blood already, basically just ask them, we volunteer a lot. Officials across the country do a lot of volunteering. They do some tournaments for free. They do clinics for free. And if you ask most of them, they'll probably tell you they would officiate for free. That's how much they really appreciate and enjoy the sport. But again, just the little things of just promoting anybody right now, active high school, college, or again, fresh out of high school, anybody that you talk to that is even out of college and stuff, just ask them, hey, you go work out with any of the programs? Do you, even coaching wise, get them into coaches and get into officiating? But the main thing is just to give back to the sport, and any information that they need, push out that information for them. I get them in contact with individuals. I know how individuals are these days. Everybody's busy. I as well will get people to, if it's not me, somebody in associations in that area, whether it's California, to contact them. I have a network of about 300 officials that we can get the job done. And again, networking, communication, pushing out, giving back. Key.
It's been awesome lately, because I was away for about 7 years for work. I came back to Ohio, so I've been back now like 3.5 years. But to see some of the officials, that are young, like this last year, one of the OAC events, there's a kid from Crestview, Ashland Crestview, won state this year, did the junior high state tournament, interviewed him after that. I mean, he's a sophomore in high school. Like that, it's pretty cool to see that, these kids, I guess they're not kids, these young adults are seeing it earlier, right? And they're starting, and now how much more of a career are they going to be able to give back when they start that early? So good stuff, good stuff. So let's talk about some of the biggest matches well, actually, no. Do you remember your first time ever running a match, like running a tournament, a dual meet or anything?
I do remember, and we'll never forget, as probably most officials. And what I can tell you about it is, it was more draining preparing for that match, as far as mentally being prepared, going through all my notes, going through the rule book, putting it down, double checking it, triple checking it, and the nerves set in. But I can tell you, like I said, being around the sport and knowing what I did to prepare for it allowed me to get out there. After the whistle blew, it was a great experience. Things flowed. You're always worried about that first time you see something that you've never seen before. And again, so you have to be prepared. Just like anything else, over the years, you grow and you learn from the sport. The first experience, again, very, very tight, very close to the action. Is pretty interesting as coaches. A lot of them will notice that go into officiating is they're so involved in wrestling as a coach, and they're so close to the action. The biggest thing for me and things to study is, I needed to stay back from the action, because again, I'm over top of them, just like it would be coaching, where you got to allow them to wrestle, and you got to allow you to stay back to see the action. So preparation was huge. Nerves were there, blew the whistle, and thank goodness everything came. And again, my goal was always to, and if I can achieve, to keep the kids safe and get it right as much as I could and still be human. Those were my goals, and I'll never forget that first time again, but preparation was nerve-wracking.
Okay, so now we'll fast forward to some of your most memorable matches that you got to call or got to watch in the arena or be close to, or just some of the cooler moments of being an official.
Well, there's no better seat in the house but being on that whistle. So, and I've had the great opportunity to be at some of the higher level throughout high school and college. I've been very fortunate to be on both of those platforms. But what I'll say is I did have, which we know, Yanni Dakamahalis, national. He's over at Cornell hanging out. We have Dayton Fix over at Oklahoma State. And a couple of years ago, I had their Super 32 final. And Dayton Fix was ranked number 1. Yanni was ranked number 3. And I had their final match, and it was by far the best match probably that I've seen. And maybe we'll see both of them again. Were college athletes, and both of them were world cadet wrestlers. Their credentials go on and on and on. So to have that final match, going into the match, Dayton Fix was favorite. The week before, Dayton Fix had a who's who match against Spencer Lee. That criterion overtime is unlimited. It took Spencer Lee 34 minutes in overtime to take Dayton Fix down.
And that was like, who's number 1, right?
That's who's number 1. Now, Yanni Dakamahalis, 1:34 in the first period, took him down. So again, it was just amazing. The video was the most watched video on Flow Wrestling. It had 11 million viewers on that one. I think it's still the top 2 or top 3 matches on there, but it's a great one to watch if you want to watch a lot of funk, a lot of spaghetti wrestling, at just a high level. The wrestlers did all the work. I was able to swipe some points and throw some points, but it was an excellent match. And he not only took him down once, but he took him down twice in the period, and he got the escape. Yanni upset Dayton Fix 6-4, 63, 6-4. Best match out there. It's still viewed as one of the top matches in the country, and on Flow. So I'll never forget that. And I still follow them. I actually had Dayton Fix in some college matches. I've had Yanni down in Florida on some matches. So that's, as you were mentioning, how interesting it is to see the progression of these athletes. And you may be, I'm at the time frame of where I've seen some of these individuals, some of these wrestlers, these athletes at a junior high school level. I'm now officiating a lot of these athletes at the college level, and it's just rewarding.
Yeah, it is cool. I mean, I'm not an official anymore, but yeah, there's something pretty cool when you.
Well, I need to promote to you. You got to get back to us.
I'm going to. I'm waiting to take my
you
test.
in contact with somebody.
All right, I know a guy then. Good, because I know a couple of people. We want to get our licenses.
I can get you a whistle and stripes tomorrow.
Okay, well, after this call, then we're gonna we'll lean into that.
We would love to have you back.
Yeah, and I know I think Jared up there is looking at getting his license as well. Just we work with so many officials at the OAC, and it'd be nice for us to kind of have some of the knowledge, not the experience that you guys have, but at least we can speak the same language, and everyone knows we have our officials' backs. That's really important to us. That's why
we'll get you up to speed.
Yeah, good deal. Well, okay, so I coach junior high, so maybe my I don't have as much pressure on me, but one of my things when I'm going to a tournament, I always remember who has the best hospitality room. So who takes care of the officials the best? What tournament is it?
Well, I will tell you that there are quite a few excellent hospitalities throughout the country. My favorite by far, and only because from start to finish, they bring you in and they treat you with the royal treatment, but that's the Beast. And the Beast is a high level high school. It does bring in officials from all over the country. It is an invite. It's difficult to get on to that roster of officials.
Invite too, right?
What is that?
Ironman, same way, kind of way, invite too?
Yeah, the Ironman just extended it out to surrounding states, but Ironman is only Ohio and surrounding that you can officiate it. So every year for the Ironman,
I didn't realize that.
I'm usually doing, I'm out doing a lot of college and whatnot, but the Beast is invite only, of course, by officials. But what they do there is they do have it at the Delaware College. So it's a real nice outfit, a lot of room. The facility is just state of the art. They also cater in hot meals every day in a buffet type style, and they have special desserts there that this catering company does. So it's a nice touch. The biggest reward that we get at the end of the tournament every year, we'll get a custom Christmas bulb for the tournament, and none of them are the same. They are all custom. They're all made from hand. And I got probably about 5 of them Christmas balls.
That's awesome.
One broke, unfortunately. But man, what a keepsake! What a way to end the tournament, and really kind of a way to appreciate the officials. And again, unique to anyone. So I definitely, hands off goes to the Beast and head official Mumps for putting on a great outfit there.
So we'll make sure that we give.
Now, there's quite a few other ones out there, but I would say
well, that's for our other podcast, the Wrestling Official Hospitality Room Review or whatever. So
yeah.
So let's see. I got a couple more questions here. I want to make sure that I bounce off you here. What are some of the rules that you wish were maybe revisited more often or looked at that created or changed that would maybe help the sport? I mean, I know there's a lot of, sometimes some people talk about a push out and folk style. I don't know how that would work. But I mean, what are some things that you think are due to be reviewed?
Well, I definitely, I do want to give credit to all uh, the associations and everybody that's involved in sending in some of their suggestions, all the officials, all the associations, but also I want to give credit to the National Federation for the job that they do. They don't have an easy job. They have, they have thousands of requests, and again, they have to go through all of them, and then they vote on them. So what we have really is the best of the best. Not everybody will agree with it, and that will never ever be the case where everybody agrees with some.
I think that's with everything though, right? I mean, if everyone agrees,
that's pretty much everything.
Innovative.
Well, what I would like to see, and I don't know if a lot of the officials know, about 2 years ago, we had an incident in North Carolina where we had the college, we were really entertaining the college out of bound rules, getting away from trying to figure out 2 points in, never fall in, never fall out. We were definitely trying to go to that college out of bounds, and they were really looking at entertaining that. It was on the ballot. And we just had an incident in North Carolina where a gentleman had hit his head, and it didn't turn out very well. So that kind of took that off. But I will tell you, through all the national tournaments, all the tournaments that I head up, we do college out of bound rules. The biggest thing with the high school is they're concerned with the space.
It's the space and the mat size too, right?
The space and the mat size. And it's a valid point. There's no argument about that. But again, if we had the option where we had the space and we had the mats, it's something that they're going to entertain. Probably something I hope that comes on. But again, it would promote wrestling. I think most of the biggest thing for wrestling is to keep the action moving. We find a lot more excitement with the action moving. Every time they go out of bounds, we got to stop the action, stuff like that. It puts more time on the clock, more time on the day. We're trying to promote wrestling, so we don't want to stop the action. We don't want to make the days longer for the parents and for the coaches and for, actually the athletes and stuff like that. So again, the out of bound rules benefits us, not because just it's a great opportunity to keep the action going, but again, it does speed up time. It does it does help the sport, So I would definitely like to revisit that and see if we can have any consideration on the out of bound rules. They're doing it across the country at all levels. I think me and you had even talked about even some of the states. I won't name too many states because I feel either I'm leaving somebody out or
yeah, I got you.
So there's quite a few states that are also visiting, or that actually do the riding time at the elementary.
That was my next question.
Middle school and high school.
Does that speed the day up too, though? Does that speed up wrestling too?
So with the riding time, I won't say it might speed up the time, but with the riding time, there is an advantage to that. You'll have that argument that then individuals will get real lethargic and just hold on, and it becomes boring. But with the riding time, only because it's in college, they want, and some of these states are doing an excellent job of getting these kids prepared for the college level at a younger age. So again, it's something that they foresee in the future that these kids will benefit from. So riding time, again, the things that I don't want to see. So we talked a little bit about maybe some of the things that I would like to see. Now, push out, let's talk about the push out rule. I think that the push out rule would benefit as far as keeping the action going. We're still going to have instances where individuals push out. It does kind of defeat the purpose of individuals trying to force your opponent out. Now, sometimes to be, so they don't get scored upon, or sometimes they just want to push them out because they don't want them to escape or something. But again, so there's pros and cons to almost every aspect, of a new rule or proposed rule. But if you look at Greco and you look at, especially Greco, and you look at these individuals, and I can tell you, you can almost go a whole 5 minutes without individuals. You can see the fight and the importance of them continuing to stay on the mat. If they leave the mat or if they get pushed out, again, that's a point. So there is a reward for individuals, but the fight and really the opportunity for them to stay in is a lot different than in high school. High school, if you back out, you can get that stall. You know, if you push out and get that stall, again, it stops the action and we have to get reset in the day. Over a period of time, you got to imagine over a period of a long tournament, all those back outs and all those push outs and stuff like that. If we can just limit that a little bit, I think it will benefit. And we've been talking about the push out rule for years.
Yeah, it's nothing new, but I think you said something in there, and I don't want to put words in your mouth. So I always try to say, here's what I think I heard though, is like having some more parity, because that's what it's going to be like in college. Why not wrestle that way in high school? Is there something of that message in there?
And I made some notes, and that was one of my notes that I made, is that college now, we've done the time and we've done the duels, and we've talked about where you have to make a call. So college went to a protocol of, if there's any stoppage of the action, basically it's going to be either a back out, a push out, or there's going to be action. Being forced to make those three calls also puts a responsibility on the wrestlers to say, hey, if I back out, I'm going to get a stall.
Yeah.
If there's a push out, there's got to be a call. Okay. Opposed to high school, where it's just basically a judgment of, well, he backed out. I'm hoping that there's a stall there without no effort. But again, it's not mandatory. I got to make that call. So I'm hoping that that we somehow follow parity of, hey, if they go out of bounds, I'm looking at three things. I'm really looking at who created the stoppage. Then I'm looking at making one of the calls. If there's somebody that jumped out of bounds, it should be a simple call. It's a stall. If they back out, no effort, little to no effort, or if they back out, I make that call. Or if there's really, there are times where you're gonna have a good scramble, you're gonna have people shooting, you're gonna have people countering, you're gonna have some action on that line. It should be a pretty simple call that we got action, guys work center. Again, I think officials can really do a good job at communicating.
Using their communication.
Guys, that's action, guys work center. So communication is huge. Action, improve. Those are things that I know without question that really that helped me with the match. And it's not coaching. There's words in the book, in the rule book, that say action, and there's words in there, center. Those words again are in the rule book. You can use those. You're not coaching. You're promoting the action that you expect the wrestlers
you're
perform.
Giving them the expectations of what's expected of them, right? So if we don't tell the competitors the rules and what's expected of them, how can we expect them to do these certain things, right? So that's just like it's your responsibility to say center, or I need some action here. It's their responsibility to understand, okay, he's not just saying that for an audio bite, like I need to do something here.
Here's my number one advice to all the officials is no surprises. Don't surprise the kids. Don't surprise the coaches. And when I say that, I mean that all of a sudden you let them back out 3 times and all of a sudden you hit them for that stall. Well, that's kind of a surprise because you just let them back out 3 times. You didn't promote the action, the center calls. You didn't let them know to work center. So again, no surprises. And again, communication is going to be your biggest tool in your tool belts if that happens. But again, no surprises. That out of you got one person that is real aggressive and the other person not working hard, and then all of a sudden it flips and then you hit the other guy for stalling. It's no surprises. They should know what is expected pre-match. We can go into a lot of different ways that you can set up a really good fundamental match, but your pre-match is key, that you let these individuals know that. You back out, there's no freebies. You push them out, there's no freebies. You're tentative. You're not working the score, you're not working angles. pre-match is huge for the opportunity for you to set up a really good fundamental match.
Yeah, goalpost, right? Tell them what to expect, and then just make sure you follow through on it,
and be consistent with it too.
Yeah.
Like I said, you should have a really good pre-match speech that is pretty to the point on what you want to cover, emphasize any new rules, and let's wrestle.
Awesome. I like it. Well, we've covered a lot of subjects here, but I wanted one other thing on that whole kind of, the parody thing. And this is just, I have certain things I like to talk about. I like to hear people's opinions. But think of all the sports, and we just call them American sports or whatever. But if you learn how to play football when you're in 6th grade, football pretty much stays the same. People get bigger and they get faster, right? But if you start learning wrestling and you're learning folk style, by the time you get to college, now it's like, okay, it's folk style, but it's a little bit different because there's, riding time. And then if you get out of college, it's like, if you haven't learned freestyle, if you want to keep doing this thing, you know what I mean? So we move those goalposts. So anytime we can kind of get them closer, so people don't have to go out of their way to get additional training, I think that's better for the sport. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think an interesting aspect of it is now that we got higher level, different type of wrestling. When you start getting into the ultimate fighting, you start getting into the submission things. Interesting enough is that's even being brought into the wrestling rooms, and so I think, yes, we need to stay with the basics. We need to allow individuals to come in and have a safe haven, a good experience with the sport. We do have that now. We do have that opportunities. We do have open door policies, I think, for almost any program out there. I think we just need to stick to the basics and teach these kids a great sport, some life lessons, and allow them, if they have that opportunity, to possibly entertain some other types of wrestling when you get into MMA and you get in there. But again, that all stems from just the basics of just folk style wrestling, and I really like to see everybody still focus on giving them that ability and giving them that training, and then work from there.
Yeah, I just reminded myself of maybe why freestyle sometimes. Like my dad took me to a tournament when I was younger, and he said, "We're going to wrestle, son." I'm like, "All right, I'm doing this," but he didn't tell me it's freestyle. Didn't tell me the rules, right? So I shoot in, the guy head traps me and just gator rolls me, tech falls me in like 10 seconds, and the match is over. And I'm like, "Dad, what just happened?" He's like, "Oh yeah, let's talk about the rules before we go out there again." So, but it's so confusing, right? If you grow up, if it's not taught to you, right? And I was in a wrestling family, but I was like, I didn't know anything about freestyle. Love it, but that was like my first foray
experience.
Yeah.
And the good thing about it is you never forgot it.
I know I did not. That happened a long time ago.
and there are so many benefits to individuals that are looking for the higher level type of experience, to where they get in. I believe a lot of them really will come out and wrestle regular folk style, and then they get involved in some of the freestyle. There's so much to offer out there. What I will tell you is that these days is that between all these new organizations that are building new opportunities for tournaments, you can go to tournaments now to where they even open up an outfit for like jiu-jitsu. That's part of the tournament. You can do folk style. So they're getting really, really innovative on what they have to offer out there these days. And I'm just amazed to go to, and I'm part of these where I'll go, and I'm not an expert in all the different aspects of wrestling, but the folk style and the college and whatnot. I'm very comfortable there, and but it's just interesting what all these different companies now are offering as far as styles of wrestling and competition.
Yeah, and I think we don't know what that's all going to turn out to. I think the whole pandemic kind of gave a lot of these clubs a shot in the arm, right? It's something that's the only place you could get competition, right? Because some of the schools were just shut down. So I think we've really saw in the last year some of these clubs that are just getting really, really tough and just growing.
Yes. I give credit to a lot of the outfits out there that were just perseverance paid off for them. If they couldn't run a tournament out of Michigan, they loaded up the wagons and moved out to Oklahoma. I was part of that. And I think that's, again, just says a lot for the passion that they have for not only the sport, but again, the passion that they have for making things happen. Give them a challenge and they succeed. And there's a lot to be said about a lot of these outfits that are given options and being perseverance over the pandemic didn't stop them. They made some changes and everybody was on board. I think me and you had talked about it. I do want to just give a shout out to all the coaches, all the kids that were patient, and it came back with more of a appreciation. It's really helped the sport out because the sport did not go away. The sport was kind of dormant for a little bit, but everybody coming back, I think, realized that they what it was not to have and be part of that sport. So when they came back on board, there was just overwhelming gratitude. The coaches have done a fantastic job with their kids. The kids are out here to wrestle. They missed it. They're coming back and they're engaged 100%. So when we talk about maybe some of the negatives of the pandemic, I think this made the sport stronger, more appreciative, and I think it's going to be a positive in the years to come.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I've been having that conversation right when we first started. We're able to do some more tournaments this year. It's like, man, these people are just happy to be here and see their son or daughter be able to wrestle again. Like you could just sense the appreciation, right? Like things that sometimes would be problems at events didn't exist because everyone's just happy. Like we get to wrestle again, So I hope we don't.
There has been a swing, and again, it has been nothing but positive. And the sport, like I said, it didn't hurt the sport at all. It probably was a welcome swing of the outfit and appreciation and everything that goes into wrestling, all the sweat, the tears, the work. We do it and we love it, and it's nice to have people coming back on board and knowing what they missed and appreciating it. So it makes a big difference.
Awesome, Harry. Well, thank you so much for your time. Hey, stick on here. I want to chat with you a little bit offline, but really appreciate everything. Thank you.
Okay, tell everybody out there hi. I got some stripes and some whistles for anybody that's interested. And again, really looking forward to, I haven't worked with you before. That's kind of rare, but if I haven't, looking forward to working with some new officials and we can put you to work. So consider it. Thank you.
Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. Let's chat. Talk to you in a second.